All right, I'm live. We're here. This is exciting. Yeah, I'm live. It's been a while since I've been live. And for those of you who have not ever known me going live, I don't leave these up forever. So this is mostly just kind of a hangout for now. And then this will stay up for like the next 24 hours. And then eventually it'll come down. So the live chats don't stay up for too long. And I'm kind of just stalling to wait for people to come in. I've seen one person who's here, a couple of thumbs up. So say hey if you're here. Excited to have you on board. I wanted to do this live too. I wanted to go live because I wanted to talk about some news. I wanted to talk about some of the things that are happening with the channel. I almost said Network 1901. I wanted to say I wanted to talk about Modern Mouse and kind of where the channel's going for the rest of this year, or at least in the immediate future, kind of what my plans are. And I just wanted to talk about like Disney stuff that typically I don't get to talk about. I get to do like history or video essays, deep dive stuff. I don't really get to talk about news, so I wanted to talk about Disneyland, Walt Disney World, WandaVision, some of the other things that are going on. Flamey says, everybody, Amber, Isabella, Ray, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I know that the Muppet Show is coming next Friday to Disney Plus, and I have heard through the grapevine that there are people who have worked with the Muppets for a long time who would like to do something, a new thing, and get it out there. So, yeah. Ray, is this like partially bonus content for Assemble? This is not. For those of you who don't know what Assemble is, I do. I'm also a host, not just for my own podcast, but for Theme Park Pulse. And I've been doing a Patreon exclusive show for them called Assemble, and we've been talking about WandaVision every week. So I have been able to talk about WandaVision, just not through this avenue. I am looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier, but here's the thing. I know that we were supposed to get Black Widow, then Falcon and Winter Soldier, then WandaVision. And that seemed like a ramping up, right? It seemed like, okay, we're going to get this, I guess, like kind of changing, pivoting motion with Black Widow. We're going to get this kind of Marvel show, like purely straightforward Marvel show with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we're going to get something weird and wild with WandaVision. And I'm really into weird and wilds. I love WandaVision so much that I feel like both Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Black Widow are going to let me down. Ray asked, the Hawkeye show still supposed to happen? Yes, they are shooting it. Still supposed to happen. And I posted this on TikTok, at Modern Mouse Trash on TikTok, if you have one, that we now have Wiccan and Speed, Billy and Tommy in WandaVision. And then we're going to get Kate Bishop in Hawkeye. And then we're going to get Kamala Khan with Miss Marvel. And those four people, as well as maybe a few other characters, should come together as the Young Avengers. Keeping my fingers crossed on that one. We'll see. And thank you for liking my mug. So yeah, I wanted to talk about some Disney stuff as well. Just some recent news. The Q1 happened today. I did not read about it or listen to anything about it, watch anything about it. Although I know that Bob Chapek's forward plan is to really focus on Disney Plus and some of the theme parks. I mean, the Epcot park needs a lot of love, and it's getting a lot of love. And then California Adventure is about to open up the Avengers Campus whenever that happens. The Ratatouille ride at Epcot is ready to go. Like a lot of things are ready to go. They just don't know what or when they're going to open some stuff up. So I'm thinking, for those of you that don't know, Andrew, yeah, hey, I am live. That's true. For those of you that don't know, some drastic changes are coming to the channel. Well, not drastic. I shouldn't say that. That's scary. Some changes come to the channel. So I changed the name this past week from Network 1901 to Modern Mouse. I got even a blessing from Shannon, who I still am friends with. I still adore Shannon to death. And if you have not subscribed to Shannon's book channel, if you're into books, you should. If you type in the search bar, it's Still Waiting for My Seder. She does really great stuff. And Lipstick and Lightsabers, her podcast, is a really great female-driven Star Wars show. Isabella, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ray, I really hope they incorporate Avengers Campus into the food festival. I don't feel like California Adventure is going to incorporate anything into the food festival, no rides or anything, so I don't know why they would open up that stuff at all. I feel like if they're going to open it, they want to open it with everything open. So my thought is that California Adventure will just be sitting on that. I also feel like at Epcot, the Ratatouille ride will also they'll sit on it until they feel like they can really push it. Andrew, did I hear about the stuff about Cara Dune, about Gina Carano? I did. I posted about it on Twitter. If you're not following, if nobody's following me, I'm on Twitter and TikTok most of the time at Modern Mouse Josh. So if you're interested in following me there, I always kind of drop my newsy opinions on those places. But I posted about Gina Carano that she has been problematic, not just in the past few days, for the better half of the last year. And she has been, she's been bitter towards the trans community. She's been bitter towards just the LGBT plus community in general. And she's kind of spread conspiracies and pushed for, you know, what the reason thing was and why she ended up getting let go was because also I've been playing music. I hope that's like not too loud. I hope that you guys can hear me and the music. What was I? Oh yeah. So she posted that, you know, Republicans were the same as the Jewish community in Nazi Germany, which a lot of people came to that defense, which I get that they're removed from that. They're removed from whatever that like generation of people are. Most of the people that were in concentration camps during World War II have passed away. But if you were to go to somebody, and I made this as an example, if you were to go up to like a widow of someone who died in 9/11, right? You're in New York, you're in Manhattan or whatever, and you go up to somebody, this widow, and say, yeah, I feel trapped in my job in the same way that people were trapped in the Twin Towers on 9/11. It's really insensitive. So I'm all for it. I mean, at the end of the day, Disney's a business. They're in the business of keeping people happy. And as the community overall was not happy with her, she had to be let go. And Andrew said they're going to recast, so I don't care. Yeah, they probably will recast her. To be honest, the Cara Dune character had played her role. There was really no need to even bring it back, honestly. Andrew also said, do you hear, did you hear this about, Isabella said, thanks, wish I could support you more. Your support is more than acceptable. Just watching videos, commenting, sharing videos around is so welcome. Like, the fact that I have this community on this channel that have gone through the changes with me. I mean, this channel started off with 5 different hosts, and then we went down to 4, and then 3, and then just me. The content has kind of changed and evolved over time, and a lot of people have stuck with the channel. So I appreciate you giving $1. I appreciate the people that are patrons. I appreciate the people that just want to watch and comment. And the fact that you say that I brighten up your day is really something that brightens up my day. So that is more important to me than anything. Although, Ray, I do appreciate the $3.99. Well, I don't know why you gave me $3.99 and not an even, $2, $3, or $4, whatever. But thank you, good sir. I appreciate you. Music's perfect. Okay, good. Andrew said, does Disneyland have Epcot? No, they almost did. They instead built California Adventure instead. They were going to build a West Coast version of Epcot. City of Anaheim said no. So yeah. But the Epcot at Walt Disney World has been going through a major overhaul, and like the pandemic kind of stopped it. And some of the things that they were going to do are probably going to go away because of the pandemic, which is fine. Hopefully they bring some of that stuff back. But I know that they have a restaurant basically ready to open that's space themed. They have the Ratatouille ride basically ready to open. And they're working on a bunch of other stuff that was delayed at Epcot. So yeah. Let me see. What else did you guys say? Oh, I'm sad that the cancellation of trivia. Okay, so I've not been doing trivia on this channel, but if you're interested in trivia from me, I've been hosting trivia every Tuesday, and it's all kinds of Disney trivia. So I do Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the theme parks, international theme parks, Touchstone. I've done all kinds of stuff that revolves around Disney. It's every Tuesday. You can find it at Twitch or on Facebook at Theme Park Pulse. And I'll type that in. I'll type that into the thing here. So if you're interested in trivia from me, that is the way to do it. And it's fun. I get to play with my friends, and then people get to chime in the chat as well. So Pulse. Just subscribe to either one of those if you're interested. Every Tuesday, I believe we start at 6 p.m. No, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern is when we do that every Tuesday. So, and it's 25 questions long. Okay. They're gonna do I like WandaVision? I love WandaVision. WandaVision is probably my favorite thing that Marvel has ever done. I've always been a big fan of the Scarlet Witch character and the relationship and love that she has for Vision. I think it's the best romance in all of Marvel. I think Wanda's probably the best character in all of Marvel, and she's not gotten a lot of screen time up to this point, so I'm super excited to see that character get more screen time. I'm super excited to see Elizabeth Olsen get more praise. She's been really good in a lot of things. My favorite movie that she's been in is Ingrid Goes West. It's with Aubrey Plaza as well. Watch it if you've not. I think it's on Hulu. It's a really good film. Andrew said, I've been here since the last D23. Those were the first videos I watched of you. Was that the videos where we were at D23? Or are those the videos like, so there was, I believe the 2017 D23 I was at. We went live from the actual expo. And then the 2019 D23, I did kind of like this. I did kind of like a recap of it, and each of us did one. Both are great. I met a lot of people at the D23 Expo in 2017, and people that I hold dear as friends now. I still talk with people from that expo. So the next expo, which I believe is not this year, I believe they pushed it to 2022, I will be at the D23 Expo. So if you're interested in meeting up with me or whatever, I know it's a long ways out at this point, but I will keep everyone updated about the D23 Expo, where I'll be, what I'll be doing there. I'm super excited about it. Ray said, lol, It's what it said the cost was. Oh, the $3.99. Okay. I thought it was odd as well. It's my first time doing this, so I figured I'd send you a coffee, a Starbucks coffee. So I don't drink Starbucks. I work at a coffee shop. So I've been outside of this. I've been working in coffee for like a decade, like 10 years, and love coffee. And I would be very interested in having any kind of coffee that's not Starbucks, because I drink some fancy coffee, to be honest with you. Isabella says, "What's my favorite Disney theme park?" I love Disneyland. I've always loved Disneyland. So growing up in Denver, I got to go to both. I'm not like a hometown person to either or, right? So like Ray, I know he lives in Southern California. So for him, Disneyland is a place he grew up. He has a lot of memories there. But if you were to take away like my memories and things from any of the parks, I would say Disneyland has the most magical feeling to it. It has the happiest feeling to it. Outside of that, I love Epcot and I love California Adventure as far as the Disney theme parks. California Adventure is a place that I've watched grow and change into something really great. And so because of that, I feel like I have some kind of ownership in it. And Epcot is very much a World's Fair in a time period where we no longer have World's Fairs. I've been to France. I've not been to Disneyland Paris, but I have been to France before. And I will tell you that the feeling of being able to travel to different countries, to experience different cultures, to talk to people from those countries is inspiring and unlike anything else in the world. And if you don't have the money to travel to, all of Europe or to Asia or to wherever, going to Epcot and getting those kinds of experiences is worth it. This pandemic will be the downfall of Disneyland. I don't think it will be. Disneyland is fine. It's just sitting there. When it reopens, I actually think that Disneyland needed a good reboot as far as the annual pass system and as far as ticket sales and things like that. I actually think that Disneyland will be better off for the general public. I think that my estimate, because when you used to be a Southern California resident, you can get an annual pass and you could, say, okay, for the year, an annual pass is, let's say $1,000 or let's just say $1,200 because that's easy even. So every month you would pay $100 to Disney for your $1,200 pass. So if you have a $600 pass, which, restricted dates and everything, you'd be paying $50 a month, which allowed for a lot of people to have a pass. And I'm not saying that you need to be rich to go to Disneyland. That should not be it. There should be no serious economic gatekeeping to go to Disneyland. But the amount of annual pass holders that would go on a daily basis, hang out for 3 hours, and I was the same, hang out for 3 hours and spend no other money, probably lost Disneyland some money. And also the park was crowded, so people that were staying at the park just didn't want to. So I think that they'll probably reboot the annual pass system, but without the monthly payment. So that means if you want the $1,200 pass, you're going to have to pay the $1,200 upfront for the pass, which will inevitably make the crowds less at Disneyland and make tourists want to go more. So I think that the economy around Anaheim and the economy for Disneyland will grow out of this pandemic. They've made some smart moves business-wise there. Whether or not, I know like Ray is an annual pass holder, so for him, he's kind of like, bummed that he's not able to go, which a lot of people are. Unlike Disney World, it's open and annual pass holders are going. But I think this is a smart move because Disneyland was getting out of hand, and anybody that went normally could tell you that. Sorry, I'm like way behind in this chat. Oh yeah, so I wrote Facebook wrong. I added an extra O, my bad. And it is at 5 p.m. Pacific. Twitch and Facebook, Theme Park Pulse. Every Tuesday, I host trivia. Flamey says, Vision kills himself to stop Thanos from taking the stone. Thanos, it's rewind time. Yeah. I actually think that Endgame is a good movie. Endgame is obviously a movie that they had to make. But I think it's my least favorite of all the actual Avengers films. I prefer the Infinity. Oh my god, I just lost the name of it. Infinity War. I want to say Infinity Saga, but that's like all the movies. I prefer the previous movie to Endgame. I think it's much better, and it's mostly because of that scene where Wanda kills Vision, rewinds the clock, and then she watches him die again. Yeah, good. I'm going to blast through some of these. Andrew, the Narnia had the potential to be a big Disney franchise. Can you do a video about the downfall of the Narnia franchise? I would have to sit down and actually watch all of them. I watched the first one, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I've not watched the other ones. I can maybe. I've got a couple of videos that are coming up. I've got a new video in the live action Eras series. I'm going to do a new video. I did that video back in October about in defense of the Black Cauldron, and enough people liked that style. So I'm going to do a new in defense of video as well. I know that Joe, who's been writing for me for the last couple of months, is writing another Pixar for adults video. So those are coming up as well. And then I'm writing a video about the Owl House. Is a show I was told to watch, and I watched it. So I'm going to make a video about it. What do you think about the new Tiana and Disney shows? I grew up in Denver too, and now live in Florida. Well, Denver, I would say Denver misses you, but Denver has definitely changed radically. And I'm actually moving out of Denver soon, and that's part of the okay, I'll just say it now. So the one major change just happened to this channel, which was I changed the name from 1901 to Modern Mouse. I added a second channel, so if you've not subscribed to that, Modern Mouse Podcasts, if you're interested in listening to the Modern Mouse Podcast, I'm putting up all of the episodes that I have so far, which is 5 episodes plus the teaser. I'll probably have all 5 of those up before the end of the month, and then I'll have a new episode up once a month of the Modern Mouse Podcast. And then the other big change that's happening is that I'll be moving. I don't have a tentative date. I can't tell you exactly, but within the next few months, I'm moving away from Denver back to Southern California. And that way I'll be doing some more theme park content about Disneyland and California Adventure, as well as Universal Studios and Knott's Berry Farm. I'm going to try and take a few trips here and there to get footage from Disney World and Universal Orlando to make more videos about that stuff too. And I don't know if I'm going to create another separate channel for theme park content and keep this as just film stuff. Let me know what you think about that. Flamey says, have you heard about Blue Sky Studios shutting down? I did hear that. I was upset about it because I always felt when they bought Fox, Blue Sky Studios would be kind of the underdog thing, and that they had Pixar, they had Disney. Having this kind of third studio of animation could be their sandbox. It could be the way that they try out new things. It could be their playground to do something different and interesting. And unfortunately, a lot of people lost their jobs. I know a lot of people in animation, and that kind of makes me sad. Nobody that I know lost their job. I didn't know anybody at Blue Sky, but it's unfortunate. Hey, Freddie. Freddie was here, or maybe he's still here. Hey, how's it going, my friend? If you have not listened to Freddie's podcast, Imagine Tomorrow, you can. You should. Before they announced the Tiana Princess and the Frog changeover to Splash Mountain, he did a podcast about it, and a bunch of people were like, no, they shouldn't do that. And then, like, 2 weeks later, they announced it. Obviously, it wasn't because Freddie said it, but his show about it kind of went viral for a little while. Ray said, Animal Kingdom blew me away with how much I enjoyed it. I expected it to be whatever. I think it wound up being my favorite of the Florida parks. Epcot and Animal Kingdom are my 2 favorite, especially as somebody who has lived in California and goes to Disneyland and California Adventure frequently. Disneyland is basically the Magic Kingdom. California Adventure is basically Hollywood Studios. I think California Adventure is better than Hollywood Studios, to be honest with you. I know Andrew said that he thought Hollywood Studios is boring. I can't argue that. I mean, I like the Studios Park. I'll still go there. But overall, all the things that are at Hollywood Studios outside of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror have better versions at the Disneyland Resort. But Animal Kingdom is unique unto itself, as is Epcot, and I think that's why I like it so much too. Andrew said, will I be on lives more in general? I'm going to try to. My plan is to maybe try to do one a month for now, see how it goes. Every time I've done a live, I have lost subscribers. And that's not anybody's fault. It's not you guys' fault. But business-wise, plan-wise, it was smart for me to not do any for a while just because I wanted to kind of grow the channel and see how it was going to go. Ultimately, having talked to some representatives from YouTube and from vidIQ who work behind the scenes with analytics with YouTube, the move to change the name was kind of more important than ditching anything else. So that's one of the major reasons why I changed the name. Flammy says bath for me, shower. I'm sure. I don't know what you mean. David said, watching the stream while taking a bath. Don't worry, I have my laptop on my bathroom counter far away from the tub as I splash. Here's a question for the chat. Which do you prefer, bath or shower? Me, bath. I prefer a shower. I do a bath, depending on the tub. If it's like a super small tub, yeah, not so much into that. But when I first lived in California, I had this huge giant like soaker tub. It didn't have like any jets in or anything, but it was just like huge soaker. It could fit my whole body like soaked deep into it. Yeah, I'd do that for sure. And I said I prefer Infinity War to Endgame. Totally. Amber says she loves the Owl House. That's great because there's going to be a video about it coming down the pipeline. Flaming says I recently found a cut song from the Lorax movie called Biggering. It's a great song. You all should listen to it. I know it's not Disney, but I just wanted to talk about it. Hey man, I'm all about any animation, so I'll go check it out. And Freddie from Magic Tomorrow said, can't wait to have you back. Let me know when you're back. I definitely will, good sir. We'll hang out and record some podcasts or something together. Isabella said, I love theme park content, so however you choose, that's great. Andrew said, so is Fox not able to make animated movies anymore? They can make animated movies if they want to. I don't know if Disney is interested in that. I mean, you're basically going through like a hierarchy, right? So like the people at Fox have to go to the people at Disney, and then that goes to the top executives and so on. So if they pitch something great, maybe they will. But I mean, Fox owned Blue Sky, so like even the people at Blue Sky had to go through Fox, and then Fox went through Disney and so on. So it was a whole hierarchy, and I guess, you know, whatever. But I mean, they might in the long run. And yes, Flamey is correct. They do have their own animation studio outside of Blue Sky. They basically bought Blue Sky the same way that Disney bought Pixar, right? Freddie said, I went to Walt Disney World recently, and Pandora is now my favorite theme park land. Flight of Passage is my favorite attraction, hands down. I haven't been to Walt Disney World in a few years. The last time I was there was like 2 months before they opened Avatar, Pandora. And so I've yet to go. I've yet to be back at Disneyland or Walt Disney World, so I have not seen Galaxy's Edge either. Andrew said Goofy movie is so outrageously funny. I made a video about Goofy movie. If you've not seen it, it's good. Isabella, do you like Star Wars? If so, what do you think of The Mandalorian Season 2? Okay, so here's my list of things that I love from Disney's output, movie and TV wise, not theme park wise. So for me, Disney and Pixar is at the top. Anytime an animated film comes out, anytime like an animated series comes out, I at least have to think about it, check it out. Then Marvel for me. Marvel is something that I will always check out. I've loved Marvel films since the first X-Men came out in the year 2000. So again, I feel like it's kind of grown up with me. And that's kind of why I love WandaVision too, because it's blending some of the things that came before the MCU into it, with the X-Men stuff and mutants and all those kind of possibilities. It's great. Star Wars for me is below that. And I know I have friends, Star Wars is above that, and Star Wars might even be their top thing above the animated films. Star Wars for me is something that I came to pretty late in the game. I think I watched my first Star Wars movie when I was 25, and I'm now 35. So I like it. I've watched all the films. I have watched some of the TV series. I watched Resistance. Overall, I enjoy the characters. I enjoy it, but the fandom in general has become so toxic that I'm just so uninterested in talking about Star Wars or doing a podcast about Star Wars or doing videos about Star Wars. Every time I do something about Star Wars, somebody comes in and they find my videos or they find my podcast and they just comment weird, crappy stuff all the time. So I'm uninterested in it. I probably will do some Star Wars content in the long run, just because I have to. But I'm just not interested in it. I love the films though. Rogue One is my favorite of the more recent films for sure. Flamey, I wonder how different Pixar would be if Disney didn't acquire them. I mean, we kind of know what they would have been. Disney had been funding them and producing things, distributing for them. But I believe, one or two films, maybe, I don't know if it's The Incredibles or Cars, I forget which one, was not done initially with Pixar and Disney as a partnership, and before they bought Pixar out. I would actually wonder more what Disney would have been like without the acquisition of Pixar, because Disney getting John Lasseter, no matter how you feel about John Lasseter now, getting him as the head of Disney Animation really turned them around. Isabella, best ride from Disney parks? True. There are two different answers for that. The best ride, personally, that I love, that I will always ride, that I absolutely adore, that has to be, I'm trying to think, it's hard. I would probably say, ride-wise, Pirates of the Caribbean, or Space Mountain. Attraction, like a general attractions, I mean shows, everything else, I would say the Enchanted Tiki Room or the Carousel of Progress. Probably the Carousel of Progress to me. If I was to have a general attraction, I would say definitely say Carousel of Progress. Thinking about it, I would probably say Pirates of the Caribbean for ride. The second part of that is what I think is the best attraction they've ever made. And that is also tough. I would probably say it's Rise of the Resistance. They really outdid themselves with that attraction. It doesn't use like all of the face mapping faces, which a lot of people dislike. It uses a lot of different elements from a lot of different rides to kind of create one general ride. So I'll probably say that. I'm very excited to go and ride it. Imagine tomorrow, Freddie said, if I'm so excited that you'll be back for the reopening of Disneyland and the opening of Adventures Campus. It'll be great to see your reaction to Rise of the Resistance. Yeah, I've not ever ridden it. I'm super excited to ride the Spider-Man ride. I'm super excited to see just Adventures Campus in general. As a big Marvel fan, I'm actually super excited for the Doctor Strange show. I love Doctor Strange, so that's something I'm excited about seeing at California Adventure. What makes me sad about the Muppets, as Flamey says, what makes me sad about the Muppets is that whenever new Muppets content comes out, it feels like it only exists because an executive went, oh yeah, we own the Muppets. What should we do with them? That, if you saw my most recent video about Pepe, it kind of says that, in the sense that like they're making stuff, they're trying stuff, but they're not really pushing the Muppets forward. They're just making stuff to make stuff. I actually thought that the Muppets ABC show from like 2015, it was much more like The Office or Parks and Rec, the documentary style, was actually really good. The problem is the general public didn't love it right away. I think that if it was a show that had been given a second season, it would have been able to kind of spread its wings a little bit and get there. Muppets Now is something that they 100% put together. It was a show that was meant for YouTube. All the different little shorts from Muppets Now meant for YouTube, and they opted because they needed something for Disney Plus, so they just took all those shorts and smushed them together, and that was that. Noel, welcome, Noel. I haven't seen you in the chat yet, so welcome. I recently got back into Star Wars again. I'm checking out Clone Wars now. I agree with the fandom being bad. I've heard really good things about the last couple of episodes that they made for the Clone Wars, like the last season of Clone Wars. So I do want to eventually check it out. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to watch in that, and I can tell you guys, I was recommended The Owl House months ago. Finally got around to watching it, and I had about an hour to 2 hours every evening to be able to watch something. So like when you tell me to watch a show, when you tell me to watch something, I do try to, but just know that like I don't have a ton of time to get around to it. So it does take me a while to get to something like that. But I did finally check out The Owl House, and I will make a video about it. Isabella says, yes, my mother always made our family go to the Carousel of Progress. It's my favorite now too. It's something that I hope that they really do remake, that they update to the 21st century, and keep there forever. Yeah, there are a few rides that I would be really super sad if they went away. Attractions that I'd be super sad if they went away. It's a Small World. I would be very sad about. I know it won't go away. It's like in every Disney theme park, so it won't go away. I would actually be upset if the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show at Disneyland went away. I wouldn't be upset if the Hall of Presidents went away, but I would be upset if Mr. Lincoln went away. Carousel of Progress and the Enchanted Tiki Room. If they upgraded Pirates to like the Shanghai version, I wouldn't be upset with that. If they upgraded the Haunted Mansion to something that was still Haunted Mansion-esque, I wouldn't be upset with it, but I think those are also two attractions that should stay. It seems like they might want to push Space Mountain out to favor Tron light cycles, which that's something that I don't think I would be super sad about it. I think I'd be fine with that. I don't know why, but I'm fine with that. I know the parks have to always evolve, so to me that's what I think of. Amos, are you going to further update the Disney Animation Eras video? Yes, I actually had a conversation with somebody at YouTube about this, because they said the top video that's ever been watched on this channel was the Disney Animation Eras Explained that came out. I want to say it came out in like 2015, 2016. We did an updated version in 2018. Angie hosted that one, and I wrote that video. Angie read that video, so I'll give her the credit there. And now I was going to do a 2020 version of it. I was going to do one every 2 years, but because everything got pushed back, I did not. However, once I see Raya and the Last Dragon, I'll have a very clear idea of where it's going, and so I will remake that video and have a 2021 update for it. And I'll probably then do every 2 years from that point, if to keep it going, if people still want it. So, but there will be a 2021 update of that this year. Like I said, the weird thing is that while the Muppets have a bunch of movies, most of them, because they became successful at the box office, Sesame Street's way more popular, yet both of their films were box office bombs. I think it just depends on the audience. It depends on the platform. Some things are just meant and suited for television. You see like TV shows all the time try and get a film and they don't work. I mean, the best example of this is like video games. Video game movies just don't ever work, but video games are good on their own, right? So I think that the I think that like Sesame Street works best on TV. The Not So Late Show with Elmo that's on HBO Max, fantastic. For Sesame Street, works really good there. The Muppets work really well both in television in a variety show format as well as on film. And I'm sad that Muppets Most Wanted was not as popular or as good as the Muppets film from 2011, but I hope we see a Muppets film sometime soon. Like a true, real good Muppets film that ends up in the box office. I hope we see something like that. Isabel said, I keep on asking your favorite. Sorry, don't be sorry at all. But my favorite Marvel movie. My favorite Marvel movies, there are two. The original Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man are probably my two favorites. Obviously, for a lot of people love Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's not weird at all. Ant-Man is my other favorite. I like heist films, but I also love I love that film because of its humor, because of what it represents. I did a video about this quite a while back about Ant-Man and how Hank Pym hands down the mantle of Ant-Man. And now we're seeing that with other characters. And so I kind of said, like, if you want to know what the future of the MCU is, look at Ant-Man, because you're looking at the past meeting the present and meeting the future. And so, yeah, just love Ant-Man. I love the concept of what Ant-Man can do. Grow really small, grow really big. There's so many jokes you can do with that, but also I think that's a really cool superpower, to be honest with you. Amber said the Disney Eras videos, how I found your channel. I love them. The Disney Eras videos are how a lot of people found this channel. And I thank you for staying and checking us out, despite the fact that the Eras videos have not been as prominent. They come and go. They are the hardest videos to write, especially now that I'm talking about the live action Disney Eras. They're the hardest to write because, like, for the next era, which takes place in mostly the 50s, I'm looking at maybe 30 to 40 movies, and I don't watch all the movies, and I'll definitely not talk about every movie in that, because when you talk about like the Disney animated eras, you're talking at most maybe 10 movies, 10 to 12 movies. When you're doing the live action eras, especially when I get into like the 80s and 90s, we're talking about like 100 movies in those eras. So it's going to be a lot. So I'm going to have to cherry pick some stuff out. But I do try and watch the ones that I know I'm going to talk about and write down notes for each movie, do research into each movie, try and find the connecting path between each era. So the hardest to write. So they do take me a while, but I do also love making them. Isabella says, have you played Hades? If not, what's the best video game? I've not played Hades. I'm not like a huge video game person, at least not these days, just because I don't have the time. I do have games that I have played. This past year I played a ton of Animal Crossing and Mario Kart, a lot of Nintendo Switch. But my favorite game when I was a kid, I was really into basketball for a while. So I played NBA Jam on the Sega Genesis. And I actually entered a tournament locally in Denver, and I think I got third place. My dad actually entered the same tournament. He got fourth place. We would always play against each other. So we were really good at NBA Jam. Other than that, I actually like a lot of the old Disney stuff too, like prior to PlayStation, like for Sega Genesis and for Nintendo. So like the DuckTales game, there was a game for Aladdin, a game for Beauty and the Beast. There was a game for The Lion King. I had a game for Toy Story when it originally came out, like the first Toy Story. Those games were always like my favorite to play because I was connected with Disney, so it was kind of a cool connection for me to have. There was another game, and I do want to talk about it in a video, probably for Patreon, because it's not like a ton of information about it. But I do want to talk about this video game called Maui Mallard, which stars Donald Duck. And I won't say much more if I'm going to make that video. But it's a really interesting video, or a really interesting video game with a lot of cool connections to now. So if you're not a patron, Patreon is for videos, it's $5 a month. For the podcast, it's $3 a month. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, but not going to push it. But if you're interested, join. Let's see. What's your favorite animated Disney era? My favorite animated Disney movie of all time is The Three Caballeros. And I think I would say it's a tie between the silver era of the 50s and 60s, because Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan are also probably two of my favorites, and Lady and the Tramp as well. Lady and the Tramp, as I've grown into an adult, has gone up my ladder. And then the wartime era. The wartime era is very underrated. People skip over those movies all the time, but if you know the history of those movies, why they were made, it's fascinating. The artistry that came out of that time period, the experimentation that came out of that time period, is what made the silver era great and what made Disney great moving forward in the 50s and beyond. So it's those two eras. So basically anything between like 1943, 42, 43, and like 1966 when Walt Disney died. Those are like my favorites of all time. Isabella, if it's okay, you don't have to answer. I will answer. How do you stay motivated when you're not getting the views that you should? Well, thank you, because sometimes I feel like I don't get the views, and I'm like, why did this video fail? For example, I made a video about The Mandalorian the day the last Mandalorian episode came out of season 2, and that video tanked hard. The next week, I made a video, not even the next week, it was like 4 days later, I made a video that came out that was about Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which came out in 1991. That video did excellent. I don't know why. And it does frustrate me. There are things that I know that I can do that would make the YouTube channel better, things that I'm going to be doing in the coming months. So hopefully the channel grows. One of the things that was a big hurdle was the name, and that was one of the reasons for the name change. People just didn't get it. And when people saw Network 1901, they wouldn't subscribe because it didn't feel like the content that they may be watching. Like if they were watching one video and they saw the name, they'd be like, oh, maybe this is a one-off or something. Or people just didn't look up Network 1901. It sounded not like a film channel or a Disney channel or anything like that. So that was part of the name change. So hopefully that does help. Because I was frustrated with that. I'm not going to lie. I was frustrated with the name because I felt like I liked the name. I was the one that came up with that name. And I put a lot of like marketing into it, and I felt like it failed. But that was on me. That's totally on me. So changing the name will hopefully help grow the channel. But to stay motivated, I get excited not necessarily about views. I get excited about interactions. I get excited about being able to chat with people about the movies I love, the TV shows I love, the theme parks I love. I love being able to chat with people and bring something new to the table in that conversation that maybe people hadn't thought about. One of my favorite videos that I've made recently was the Hayao Miyazaki video about The Wind Rises, because I made that video thinking about World War II from the Japanese side, from the losing side, and how Japan changed after World War II, how it grew and how it prospered, and how it might not have prospered if those cities hadn't been bombed, if those places economically hadn't been destroyed. Um, so I really got deep into stuff I learned about that video. Like for that video, I didn't even fit all of it into that video. I couldn't figure out how to put all that information into it. But I learned a lot, and like it made me care a little bit more. And so even like the research into things makes me love it more. Like watching the Owl House, doing some research, talking about it. Like I don't have any friends locally that have watched the Owl House that I can talk about. So I'm super excited to get that video out, to have that conversation with you guys. So that for me is more important than views. Yeah. Ernesto, hi. Have you heard about the news of Disney shutting down Blue Sky Studios? We just talked about that. Yeah. All I can say is I'm heartbroken and saddened for the 450 employees and artists that will lose their jobs in April. That's kind of my sentiment as well. I felt like it was Disney acquiring them. There was a possibility for experimentation and development, and it was a way for the company to feel out something different, and they chose not to do that. Instead, they chose to shut it down, and I am sad about it, especially in the midst still of the pandemic, that people are going to lose their jobs. It stinks. And also, Disney needs to get back into gaming. Some of the mobile games are fine, but we need more epic Mickey-type games. You know, they used to license out a lot of their stuff. Like obviously, like Square Enix, they've done for Kingdom Hearts, which is probably the most prolific thing that they've done. I had a few friends that actually worked at Disney Interactive for a while, and I was sad the day that closed down. But when they used to license their stuff out to Capcom or to like Acclaim or whatever, when they did stuff like in the 90s, those were such good games because they let people that knew how to make games make games. And so I would say they shouldn't start their own company again. They should license it out to whomever, unless they're going to buy a company. I've talked about that in a video too, about Disney buying Capcom. But I don't think that that's going to probably happen. I think that they should license out some of their stuff though, especially like look at Raya and the Last Dragon. That movie is ripe to be a video game. Like, who doesn't want to run around as little Raya? Who doesn't want to like see this beautiful world and play around in it? They should definitely license out those characters and make that game. Amber said Peter Pan is my favorite film. And Isabella said, what do you think of Peter Pan ride at Disney World? So the Peter Pan ride at Disney World is also at Disneyland. I think that the line is always too long. However, at Disneyland, I don't really care for the ride. The line is like always too long. It's always like out in the middle of the sun. But at Walt Disney World, I will wait in line for it, because when you wait in line at Disney World for Peter Pan, you are basically walking through the Darlings' house, through like their nursery and whatnot. And there's a bunch of like little interactive things that happen in the room because Tinkerbell messes with stuff. And just to be in that line is actually cooler to me than the ride. So I would just want to hang out in that room. So I like the Peter Pan ride at Walt Disney World because of that. But the Peter Pan ride in and of itself, I think will be getting a lot of changes in the coming years, maybe in the next year or two, because of its depiction of Native Americans. But B, the line is always too long, and I'm just not here to wait in that line, especially not out in the middle of the heat in like the summer or something. Isabella, I hope it helps. I will always remember when it was Network 1998. Cheers to Network 1998. Amber, what's the film that I'm looking forward to come out this year? I am looking forward most from like Disney and Disney subsidiaries. I would say Encanto is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Outside of that, I would actually probably say the Eternals from Marvel. That would probably be my answer. And Raya looks great. I'm not dogging on Raya and the Last Dragon. But yes. Encanto, then the Eternals, then probably Raya and the Last Dragon, then Black Widow. I'm like, Black Widow is going to be fine. I'm going to enjoy it, but that's not like a movie I'm dying to go see. Brian, oh wow, first live stream in a bit. Yeah, welcome in. Too bad I can't stay. I will keep this up on the channel for the next like 24 hours. So if you want to go back and watch something that you've not seen, I'll take this down probably tomorrow evening. So that's one of the things I do for live shows. I try and toss them up here and there. It's kind of like a little secret thing I throw up, but it is usually something that doesn't stay up on the channel. So if you're interested in going back and watch it ASAP so that you can see it all, if you're interested in that. P.S. I hope you've checked out the Marvel anime from the previous live stream. I still have not. I was talking about this earlier. I need to watch more stuff. I finally finished The Owl House. I've been recommended a bunch of other stuff. The Marvel anime is something I'm going to get to, I promise. I typed 1991. Cheers to Network 1991. Isabella said, what do you think of Turing Red? I don't know what that is. Can somebody tell me what Turing Red is? I'm sure I do know what it is, but like that doesn't ring a bell for me. So if you want to type that in, let me know. But for those of you who came recently, so I will be moving to California, Southern California, in the next few months. I don't have a definitive date, but it will be happening. So I'm hoping to film enough stuff to where there's no gap. I have a video coming out once a week. But there might be a gap somewhere in that move, just trying to set up. I'm not sure how long it'll set up, because I have to get internet and then, get everything set up in whatever room I'm going to have. I'm going to get a 2-bedroom place, kind of like this is, so that one room can basically be like the studio room. But I don't know how long like stuff will take to get set up, how long it'll take to get internet, whatever. So I'm going to try to have as many videos set up so there's no gap. But if there is a gap, that's why. And then I'll hopefully have some more theme park content coming down the pipeline at that point as well. The Panda thing. Turing Red is the Pixar series for Disney Plus. Yes, I'm excited about it. I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. I can see the graphic now. I'm excited about it. I'm more excited about Monsters at Work. But I'm a Pixar fanatic. So anything Pixar, I will gladly gobble up. I've gone almost an hour now. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I'll hang out for a little bit longer as long as anybody has questions or thoughts or comments. I was gonna ask. We talked a bit about Marvel. People asked to talk about Star Wars, Disney, Pixar, theme parks. Covered a lot of bases. I know I got a lot of personally. I haven't. For those who've just recently joined, we're talking about the name change not too long ago. Isabel said, my thoughts on Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 is a better movie the more and more I watch it. But if the series ended at 1, 2, and 3, I wouldn't have been mad. I think it's a perfect trilogy. Toy Story 4 is a good movie, though. So I changed the name of the channel to Modern Mouse last week. A ton of positive feedback in the comments. I thank you all. To be blunt, to be honest, I was truly afraid of that change. Clicking publish on that video was the hardest video I've ever had to publish because I didn't know what the response would be. And I can talk about politics or religion or social issues, and that's not ever a problem to me. The channel has always thrived with videos that talk about serious issues like that, and people have thanked me for talking about those kinds of things, which has been pleasant and nice to hear. And obviously I get a lot of comments that are not agreeable and sometimes rude, and I try and filter out those as much as I can. Sometimes I respond to people, but those don't scare me as much as the actual change of the name and the channel scared me, because I didn't want the people who have been around a long time to think that I was changing on them. I wasn't changing on them. I was changing for them. I was changing for my audience because I wanted to see the audience grow. I wanted to see the channel prosper, and to have a kind of a fresh new identity was going to allow that to happen. So yeah, there's that. I am still scared though. I'm scared to move out to California on my own. The last time I made that move, I was married. I had a partner in crime. I still have friends out there, but I haven't made a theme park video, theme park history, theme park video essay, or whatever, in probably 2 years. And a lot of the people that are recent or newer to Network 1901, newer to Modern Mouse, I don't know how they're going to take it. And so it still scares me. Those kinds of changes scare me. The channel, when I put up that, I was changing the channel, and when I put that up, I lost maybe like 25 subscribers, like within like 2 hours. Just lost a bunch of people, and I knew that was going to happen. I knew that to take steps forward, I would have to take a step back, and I think that's a lesson a lot of people should know, that big scary things might mean that you have to take a step back, but ultimately they are things that will springboard you forward. And in the past few days, analytics wise, the back end of this YouTube channel has made some good strides forward. I've gained all of those subscribers back, maybe not those exact people, but that amount of subscribers back, and then some since then. So thanks for sticking around, and thank you for being a part of this. It means a lot to me, and there's going to be, more things that happen in the future. I'm a little bit afraid, to be honest, but I'm excited to see where the channel goes. Amber said, are you going to talk about 20th Century Studios more? So I did talk about Home Alone. That was kind of my first 20th Century video. But yes, I will. And I'm also, especially as we go into the Disney film eras, the live action eras, I'll be talking about Touchstone Pictures more and Hollywood Pictures as well. So those will be movies that I'll touch on. So like Splash, I actually do have a video coming out in a couple of months for the director project, which has been something I've loved doing. It's been something different for the channel, but I hope that you guys have also loved the director project. I know like Christopher Nolan has not made a Disney film, so I had to kind of reach on that one. But I get to talk about movies that maybe I wouldn't be able to otherwise with that project and with all those other people. So I enjoy doing that. And but in the next couple of months, we're going to do a director that's done a video for, I believe it's for Hollywood Pictures. And so I'll have a video from Hollywood Pictures, and I'll probably do more Touchstone and more 20th Century stuff as we go forward, for sure. That'll happen. Isabella said, you always make amazing content. I hope it works out. You're my favorite creator. That honestly means the world to me. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad it's working out. I'm too. It's working out well. It was a scary step. It was a step I'd been thinking about ever since the channel just became me back in March or April last year. It was down. They were down to two of us, between Shannon and I. And the conversation I had with Shannon when she opted to step away was a really good conversation. It was peaceful. We're still friends. So there's that. Sadly, I have to go. This has been brilliant, and I can't wait to see many amazing. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you hung out for a while. Thank you so much. What are your Amber says? What are your thoughts on Star for international Disney Plus? I mean, Star is basically just making up for what Hulu is and what Hulu's offering. So I'm glad that they're getting kind of like a bundle package internationally as well. There's a lot of cool content on Hulu, I would say. So of all of the streaming services that I have, I pretty much have all the streaming services. I would say I watch HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu the most. I have Netflix still. I have Amazon Prime. I have Peacock, but I don't really get on those as much as those other three. Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO Max are the three that I'm always. And then like YouTube, of course, like that. But that's not. I mean, if you want to call it a streaming service, sure. But those are the things that I'm always on. I've been hanging out for a little bit longer than an hour. A bunch of you have stuck around. A bunch of you have given me a ton of questions. Thanks for chatting with me, for hanging out with me. I'm going to end this thing. If you would like to, a lot of you gave a super chat. A couple of you gave a super chat. Thank you so much to those who did. That was unnecessary. I wasn't asking for that, but thank you for dropping a super chat. If you're interested in checking out the podcast, you should. If you're interested and you don't know how to listen to podcasts or whatever, that's fine. There's a bunch of links down below this, but you also can now listen to the podcast on YouTube. The first episode of the podcast is already up. The teaser plus the first episode is up. I'm going to drop the second episode in the next few days on YouTube. But if you just Google or in the search bar of YouTube, Modern Mouse Podcasts, or just go youtube.com/Modern Mouse Podcasts. You see the podcast there. Something I put a lot of hard work into. That's why there's only one a month from that instead of like 4 or 5 videos a month. But if you really want to get like deep into what I feel like Modern Mouse is, to me, that's what Modern Mouse truly is. A deep dive into, serious issues through the lens of Disney. So check that out. And thank you guys for hanging with me. I appreciate it. Until the next time, keep moving forward. And this is awkward at the end now. Sorry, guys. Keep moving forward.